Nanalo ng Family Feud ng Team Yap Family ng 200,000 pesos.
Family Feud, 5:35 p.m.
Welcome to my episode that is called
That's okay.
Euphoria in Madrid as the final whistle blows and Spain are crowned winners of this year's World Cup. The match in New Jersey was a suffocating affair, a 0-0 stalemate with Argentina that went into extra time, broken in the 106th minute by Spanish substitute Ferran Torres. Speaking of uninspired, the halftime show, a first for a World Cup, received mixed reviews. Madonna, Shakira, Justin Bieber, and BTS, among others, all packed into an 11-ish minute medley. Post-match, boos from the crowd. As US President Donald Trump took to the pitch alongside FIFA's president to present the trophy.
Oh.
On his way back to Washington, Trump praised the tournament, co-hosted by Mexico, Canada, and the US.
This was one of the greatest events of any kind ever held, so we're really happy that it did so well.
Reuters editor-in-charge of sports, Julian Preto, says for the most part, the tournament did bring people together. We caught up with Julian outside MetLife Stadium.
It's been quite a success. The stadiums were full, all of them. The attendance was spectacular. There were uplifting moments, definitely, like the Cape Verde story, the story of their goalkeeper and his mom finally managing to get a visa approved to come to the US and watch her son. It was a beautiful moment when she arrived in the Miami airport. It was very emotional. Their whole campaign was also a great success, drawing against Spain, who ended up, being world champion. A lot of drama. A lot of matches that were decided in the last minutes or after extra time. Although at the end of the day, the top 4 teams made it to the semifinals, which also was a good thing. I mean, if you go to a show, you want to see the stars, and the stars, they stayed until the very end.
Argentina's Lionel Messi was one of them, although in the final he failed to lift his team and narrowly missed out on making history.
Leo Messi scored 8 goals, reached the final for the second consecutive World Cup. Kylian Mbappe, 10 goals, becoming also the all-time top scorer in World Cup history with 22 goals. Messi now has 21. Folarin Balogun, was also like a big name for the US until, unfortunately for him and for the whole team, his achievement and their achievements, they were overshadowed by the controversy that surrounded Balogun's red card.
That arguably became the defining controversy of the tournament, with Donald Trump personally intervening and FIFA making a U-turn on that red card, allowing Balogun to play. Looking ahead to 2030, soccer returns to more traditional turf, but in an untraditional format to mark the competition's 100th anniversary. Uruguay, Argentina, and Paraguay will each host an opening round match, with the rest of the games played in Spain, Portugal, and Morocco. President Trump travelled to and from that match on Marine One, the presidential helicopter. But it's the 747, or Air Force One, that's back in the spotlight. Trump now says the jet gifted to him by the Qataris will soon be sent for upgrades to get, quote, maxed out. It follows questions about its security after Trump briefly switched back to an older Air Force One during a trip earlier this month. The US has attacked Iran for a 9th consecutive day. President Trump saying Sunday's attacks were in honor of the 3 American military personnel confirmed killed in Jordan and Iraq since a resumption of hostilities. A 4th is missing, and CENTCOM says unidentified remains are still being examined. An interim ceasefire signed a month ago has unraveled in recent weeks, raising the risk of a return to all-out hostilities.
Wow.
Now to the UK, where Andy Burnham is taking over the country's top job, becoming the 7th Prime Minister in 10 years. He's taking aim at the rise of the populist Reform UK, headed by Nigel Farage. And he's promising to offer hope to people in forgotten places everywhere. We called up UK correspondent Alistair Smout, who was at Parliament, to find out what to expect from a Burnham premiership.
So Andy Burnham's been clear about a few things in terms of he wants more decisions made closer to people at a local level. He wants fewer decisions made in the place behind me in Parliament in Westminster. And he's generated excitement from across the Labour Party for being a skilled communicator with a bit more of an easy touch both with people and with the lawmakers of the Labour Party. They're looking forward to this more collaborative approach. But exactly how that translates into a neat sort of political spectrum for his government it's a little unclear. He's been associated with the soft left of the Labour Party, so that would be to the left of Keir Starmer. A lot could hinge on his choice of finance minister, or Chancellor of the Exchequer here in Britain. Markets have been very sensitive to any hint that it could mean sort of more easy spending or higher taxes or any kind of shift towards fiscally in that way.
For a look at the markets now, here's Mike Dolan from our sister podcast, Morning Bid.
So it was a pretty shaky week last week, particularly for the tech stock universe, and we've got a nervous start to this week coming from the Gulf and coming from the Iran conflict, where crude oil prices are back above $90 a barrel after a jump of about 16% last week. They are tightening and tightening as that conflict deepens and deepens. The 9th day in a row that the US has hit Iran, and there has been retaliation across the region. So we have to watch that very closely. And tech stocks will inevitably, having dropped, certainly the chip sector dropped 10% last week in the US, now look to the hyperscalers and Alphabet's results on Wednesday for the next direction. And in the UK, we have a new Prime Minister. Andy Burnham finally takes his seat at number 10. Now I have to see who's in his cabinet.
Even this limited analysis found more than 250,000 foreigners illegally registered to vote.
President Trump has repeatedly made assertions like this, implying that America is a hotbed of voting fraud by foreigners and alleging a widespread Democratic plot to influence elections. Reuters reporters have pored over the data and found that the numbers tell a different story. Records show that federal prosecutors have charged just 129 people under a federal voting by aliens statute created by Congress 30 years ago. Here's reporter Peter Eisler with more.
What we found was that though President Trump says that people are coming over the border illegally to vote, we found that most of the people who were convicted of this crime were in fact here legally, either as permanent lawful residents or under visas, and had voted in most cases, according to the court records, by mistake. Either they were misinformed and thought they were okay to vote, and they went ahead and did it. Out of all 129 of those prosecutions, we did not find a single case where it was alleged that someone had done this as part of a broader conspiracy or had been paid to vote or coerced to vote a certain way.
One of the people swept up in Trump's crackdown is 72-year-old Panama-born Dora da Mata Rodriguez, a woman who says she voted for Trump. She told Reuters she believed she was entitled to vote and registered using her driver's license in 2016, but she wasn't. After a 2019 conviction, she spent 13 days in jail and was told by immigration authorities the matter was settled. But last year, the Trump administration revisited her case, and she was deported to Panama in June. Reporter Tom Howells spoke to her.
She recognizes she broke the law, so in that sense, she realizes she should be prosecuted. She does, at the same time, will very quickly say, but it seems very unfair. The crime is a misdemeanor. It is not a felony. And she also had one of the harshest sentences of anybody we could find.
You can read the full story on Reuters.com. There's a link in the show notes. For more on any of the stories from today, check out Reuters.com or the Reuters app. Don't forget to follow us on your favorite podcast player. If you're listening on a smart speaker, just ask for the latest news from Reuters 7 days a week. We'll be back tomorrow with our daily headline show.
That's it for your news updates. To see more stories, open Google News.